Attention women's wrestling fans and wrestling collectors. Ring Post Journal's 2021 Women's Wrestling Year in Review is now available worldwide on Amazon. This year's book includes an industry news timeline, event results from all around the globe, the top 10 stories of the year, win-loss records, and comprehensive statistic-based wrestler rankings for WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, NWA, and Ring of Honor. All of this plus a one-on-one interview with Maria Canales-Bennett as she explains the process behind rebuilding Ring of Honor's women's division. A portion of the proceeds will also be donated to a mental health organization in honor of the late Daphne. Happy reading, and author Colby Applegate thanks you for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 241 of a Wrestling Gal podcast, providing you with the female perspective on all things wrestling. Join me, your host and wrestling enthusiast, Ella J. As today I am joined by one of Australia's fastest rising stars, Cherry Stevens. Now let's chat. Hello, everybody. Today I am joined by one of Australia's fastest rising stars, Cherry Stevens. It's true. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. It was my birthday yesterday, so
happy belated birthday. Oh my gosh.
So I had a very nice day off work and a bit of pampering with like a spa day, and I went to see Hamilton.
The musical?
The musical. That's in Sydney, and we went to see that, and yeah, it was just very nice. So just going back to normal life today.
I know, it's always like the day after your birthday or the week after, you're like, why can't every day be like today?
It was so nice, yeah. And just gotta wait another year. That's all right.
You'll have reasons to treat yourself, I'm sure. I mean, you've been doing a lot of things. Like I said, when I say one of the fastest rising, I sincerely mean it. I feel like we're all our own self-critics, so I get you. You're humble, but you're doing amazing work right now. And I must say, like, you've had quite the journey, both personally and professionally. So looking back quickly on last year in 2021, what are a few things that you're particularly proud of?
2021, I was proud of all of my matches because I came into my own character from basically February, I think. And so that was really cool. Obviously, I was like a green dingo before that, which is the I know it's funny name, but the PWA kind of development, what we see as like a young lion type thing. So I guess I graduated from that to really embrace my true Cherry Stevens character, which is very much a lot of myself, which is why I really love it. And got to get my own gear and really just kind of established that, and had some great matches with Charlie Evans. I had 2 matches with her, which were, that was really awesome because she's just such a big star. And she's left us now for the UK again. So I'm glad that I got to have those matches with her, and just a bunch of other ones. And just leading into 2022, I just feel really excited about continuing on with everything.
I mean, you've recently got a promotion too, I saw.
It's not really what I was expecting, especially on the show. So now I am first and foremost the intern for the Goober Report with my boss, Will Keatis. And now I'm his personal referee as well. So I'm doing double duty and didn't get a raise or anything. I don't get paid anyway, so...
I feel like that just makes you a triple threat, though. Wrestler, intern, and now referee, though.
Well, he's really trying to stop me from wrestling, but I'm pretty keen on the wrestling side of it. So I think I'm going to keep going and stuff him, but don't tell him I said that.
Okay. I mean, you got to stand up to the man sometimes. I mean, if you're not getting paid, girl.
I know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But I mean, you've been coming into your own, and we'll be talking about that in a bit. But now, correct me if I'm wrong. You were or are a librarian before?
Oh, yeah, I was before. Technically, I have my librarian qualifications. Currently, I'm working in more to do with like information management, so digital records, but along the same vein. Yeah,
Okay, so prior to pro wrestling, your profession was librarian, you would say.
yeah, I'd say that.
Yes. Okay. So obviously, I feel like you have to be really drawn to books to become a librarian. Would you? I mean, but your at is books are tight. So I feel like
Right.
you have to be. So what genre of books are you usually drawn to?
Oh, I'm pretty soppy when it comes to like romantic stuff. So I'll read some pretty bad romantic literature every now and then. But I have a wide range of genres I usually read. So I quite like science fiction and fantasy. So a lot of the young adult stuff is really good for that. My favorite series of books is Red Rising. Um, by P.S. Brown. That's my favorite. It's kind of like a Star Wars type thing, not Star Wars, but they have fights in space. So I guess that's the closest relation I can think of. And at the moment, I'm reading a pretty heavy book called Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. So that's written in the 60s and it's like a big brick of a book and it's taking me a long time to get through that. But yeah, I read pretty much anything. I like reading manga as well because I'm really into Japanese and Japan.
Yeah.
Um, Although if I try to read it in Japanese, it's very slow going. I have to have my dictionary and the book. So it's like studying in a
Yeah,
way.
I would expect that to take a while. You got to like double check too, because you might
Yeah.
translate something wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, wait, what's going on? I've done something wrong. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun though. So would you say like if there was, I don't know, if there was ever like a sci-fi romance somehow, that would be like your ideal maybe? Yes. Your
Yeah.
eyes
Maybe
lit up.
I'll write one. Yeah. Write my own one that I like. Yeah. I always think about stuff like that. I love writing as well. And I'm doing a lot of random stuff at the moment. I started sewing. I've got all my like sewing things here too. So I'm just a bit of a, I like just trying things really.
So now what are you currently working on in your sewing adventures?
Sewing, I made a pillowcase. It's downstairs,
Okay.
and I made a tote bag. It's not. It actually turned out better than I thought for the very first time sewing. It's a proper bag. I was expecting it to not be at the end of it, but I could use it ostensibly. It's just really ugly, so I got to just keep practicing.
Exactly. I mean, and nothing's going to turn out perfect the first time you do anything, I think.
No, I definitely learned that. Yeah, yeah.
Have you been learning from like YouTube tutorials or is you just like how have you been learning by?
Yeah, literally just myself with YouTube. Learned to thread the machine and get my stitches, but I'd like to start making clothes. It would be really cool to start making my own gear for
Mm.
wrestling, but that would take a lot of practice. So eventually, I think I'll start working on making garments, skirts, and tops, and then maybe gear after that. It's a bit finicky, but all I can do is try.
This is the beginning of your fashion designer. You're going to become a world-renowned fashion designer someday. This is the beginning of it all.
Maybe. We do find it
Maybe.
hard to find gear in Australia, so there's definitely a market for it.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very good friend who's amazing at designing gear, but it's different making it too. That's a whole other process, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Definitely too. But I'm curious too, like with writing too. I like minored in college in creative writing. So like I
Uh,
love that. Did you write like poetry? Was it like short fiction? Like what were you drawn to writing wise?
I did start writing poetry actually, or like more along the lines of lyrics. When I was a lot younger, when I was like a kid, but then I really got into writing short story fiction when I was in high school. So that was like something I did in my teen years, but not so much lately. But I did sit down the other day and just randomly start writing a short story, and it felt nice. It's nice to write without worrying about if it's going to be any good. I think
Hmm.
that's the problem with writing. You just got to get it out there, all on the page or on the screen, and then step away and then come back and go, "Oh, okay, just redo that." But
Yeah.
if you worry too much about making it perfect the first time you write it, then it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah, or if you're
You-
worried about like what your grade is going to be on it or have it judged by, yeah, that's a whole other
Oh,
thing. But when you're writing for yourself, that's a whole other thing, which I haven't done in a long time. It's mainly just writing for people or like for judgment or grades or something like that. Yeah, it's a whole other
well,
ballpark.
a thing to give a grade to like a creative writing. It's really like putting yourself on the
Mhm.
page, and then if you get a bad grade, you're like, can be quite, yeah,
Mhm.
difficult when it's
Yeah,
those kind of
you feel so confident about it, and then you get it back, and it's like, well, I mean, it's all subjective, really. I mean,
yeah,
unless you're
I don't
doing
know
like a
what to say.
nonfiction piece, but most of our work, I would say, is like fiction or poetry, which is like subjective and like the eye of the beholder, I guess, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking like with fiction too, tying it in with wrestling, if you could tag team with any fictional character, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really hard question. Tagged fictional character. I guess the first thing that came to my mind, just because I really related to her when I was reading Harry Potter growing up, would maybe be Hermione.
I mean, you could have some wizardry in there. You could have some magical powers intertwined into your match and have the advantage.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. And, she was a bit of a study nerd, so we could get along with that character wise. So, yeah, I guess that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Hermione and Cherry Stevens. I don't know what your tag team name would be. Like, I don't know. Something was with wizards and something with books. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
have to work on it. We'll get back
Yeah.
to you on that. But I know Jessica Troy loves to read too, so maybe there's something there for a potential tag team too. I don't know.
Yeah. We do recommend books to each other. So I know she does have that book club that she does too. Hey. Yeah.
She does. What was the most recent book that you recommended to her, if you recall?
Oh, it was called The Flat Share or The Flatmate or something. And again, it was just one of those rom-com things. And she enjoyed it. So I guess, yeah.
I love rom-coms too. So like I'm very curious too what like your movie perspective. Like what are your normally go-to? I feel like we all have a couple go-to. Okay, your eyes lit up. You have a couple.
I always have like a top 5 that I go
Okay.
to. If I think of the top 3, my favorite romance movies, I'd say romance because I love pure romance. Rom-com's good and there's a lot of those, but
Okay,
those are
true,
a
true.
little bit sketchy, right?
Mhm.
I really, if I want to just have a good cry, of course I'll put The Notebook on and cry at the end of that, even though I know it's coming,
Yeah.
always doesn't stop the tears. I love Call Me by Your Name for a romance as well. And I guess like a little indie one would be Blue Valentine with Ryan Gosling and Michelle. I can't remember her last name. She's an Aussie actress. That one's really depressing. They're all very depressing.
I mean, romance comes with heartbreak, like
Yeah.
both ends of the spectrum. I mean, The
Mm.
Notebook, like you just said, I mean, the ending makes me sad. Ironically, I've only ever seen it in full once.
Yeah,
And it
that's
was for school, ironically.
oh, we
Yeah, it was for my psych class. So very ironic. I don't know why. I don't remember why, but it was made me very sad at the end there.
yeah. Geez, watching that in a class would be weird.
Yeah, I
Boring.
don't remember why, but I mean everybody had watched it. I was like, well, I guess this is my time to watch it. And I did enjoy it though. I mean, it's forever a classic too. But I mean with drama, with movies comes like drama and performance arts. So you also did drama too when you were younger, correct?
Yeah, that was my worst score on my high school like tests. Just
Really?
just to say. But no, I've always liked doing voices, doing acting, and obviously with wrestling being such a big part of the acting and character side of it, that did come in handy. So yeah, subjectively, not very good at drama in terms of grades, but I seem to connect with the wrestling audience. So there you go.
With voices, do you mean like impersonations or
Don't ask me. Oh God, I shouldn't have said that.
okay,
Don't ask.
I won't ask you to do it, but like who do you normally like who would you say is your best impersonation or what it like describe it? You don't have to do it, but
It's more singing impersonations. So I can do like if I have a bit of a cold, I can do a really good Rihanna because she has a bit of like a like kind of
mhm.
sound to her singing. So I can do a really good version of her. And I it depends on the song. I can do a good Zombie by the Cranberries. So I more can like emulate that's the style of singing better than maybe than like an acting impersonation. Yeah. Just to clarify.
Okay, fair. What is your personal music taste like then?
I'm really into I guess it would be emo, but it would be the emo stuff that was around in the mid 2000s. So My Chemical Romance
I
is my
knew
absolute.
exactly that's what you were going to say first. I'm not much of an emo person, but anybody who knows knows.
Yeah, MCR is the number one for me. They're what got me into it. And then it would be, you know, some bands like The Used or A Day to Remember. I don't know if they are releasing new music, but they're very much of that era. So I still listen to that 10, 15 years on. And again, like I'll just listen to whatever's at the, you know, on the radio, some tropical house or whatever's going on at the moment, pop, yeah, just a bit of everything, but mostly emo and a bit of hardcore, I guess.
Oh, hardcore. Okay, girl.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
you. I find that cool because like we're from different parts of the world, but like music is so like integral, I think, to like life and like expression and like it's like kind of like writing too, like with expression and like understanding and getting in your feelings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Is there any song or artist that like if you're ever having a bad day that like you always listen to? Because I definitely have a whole playlist.
Oh, if I'm having a bad day, it would be a playlist of all this
Mhm.
like very specific sad songs that I have. Which why would you listen to sad songs if you're having a bad day?
We
I
like
don't
to
know.
self wallow, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I do the
yeah.
same thing, literally.
I just like make my mood worse by putting on a really sad playlist, but it would be a mixture. But if I ever want to feel better, I'll always go back to an MCR song. Yeah.
Okay, fair. What is your favorite MCR song?
Oh, that's hard.
Okay,
Oh,
how about top three?
oh, top three. um, probably. Oh, they're going to be a bit random, not like the main ones, but House of Wolves from their Black Parade album. There's a few from the album before the Black Parade as well. I Never Told You What I Do for a Living. They always have these really long song names, like that, you know, I don't know if you listen to like Fall Out Boy from
Yes.
a while ago and Panic at the Disco. They all had this period where they were making really long song titles. So those are two I can think of off the top of my head. And I guess Famous Last Words from Black Parade as well. That would also be in my top three. Yeah.
Solid. Have you seen MCR in concert before?
I have twice a long time ago, and I have tickets for their tour, which has been postponed twice now. So they were meant to come in 2020. It's now being postponed twice till 2023. So I have tickets for their show in New Zealand and I have tickets for their show in Sydney.
I pray it works out for you still. I know that
They're going
struggle.
to be like 50 years old by the time they actually come and perform, but I don't mind. It's fine.
I pray that I've had that too with the concert that I have coming up. It's been postponed like twice already. It's
Yeah.
scheduled for May, but I hope that it stays that way. I feel you. I feel you. Justin Bieber.
No way.
Yes.
Are you a big Justin Bieber fan?
Yeah, I would say my friend is more so than me. I love a lot of his old stuff, and I mean I've never seen him before, but it's been postponed literally twice already, and it's
Oh.
like, come on.
Oh man, you're lucky in America though. You get so many more concerts than we do.
Fair.
They're all like bands are like, we're going on a world tour, and apparently Australia doesn't include in the world. So, and the concert tickets are super expensive.
Oh, I know. Don't get me started on that. I know, girl. I know. It's a whole other thing. But switching gears here to wrestling, obviously, like we said before, your profession was like a librarian. But once you like got started with pro wrestling, how was it adjusting to the lifestyle change of training 4 to 5 days a week?
Wow, yeah, that was a really big lifestyle change. I was up at a point in my life where I was really finding something to do. Like I said before, I've always liked trying new things. I've tried a bit of like kung fu. I've been doing CrossFit for a couple of years. Now with like my sewing, and I always feel like there's something that I needed to fill my time with. And I wasn't sure what it was. So a couple of years ago, I ended up going to a tryout at PWA. Completely randomly. It wasn't even an officially sanctioned tryout. It was just with my friend because he's the videographer. And so did that and all the basic stuff for wrestling, you know, like roles and do you have body control and can you take on feedback, all the normal stuff. And I started training, and when you start, you're only in the beginners class, so it's just once or twice a week. And then I kept training consistently, and so I kind of got moved up the classes. And so the more you get moved up, the more classes are available. We have our like beginners, intermediate, progressive type thing. And so as I moved up, then that really changed my life because I was going to training 4 or 5 days a week. And all of a sudden it was just this huge thing in my life. So it was interesting at the beginning to try to balance everything. And also you have to, at a certain point, justify how much you're training to where you actually want to go with it as well. Like, yeah, you want to keep it enjoyable and not make it
a hassle, feel it like an obligation. Yeah,
it's meant to be fun. And I've managed to maintain that for the last couple of years. So I think the next year especially, I really want to put my all into it, maybe the next 2 years, and then like see where we end up from there, because it's a lot of work.
it is. And like we said, you've been progressing too, especially ever since you started back in November of 2018. It's been over 3 years now, coming up on 3.5, just approaching very soon, very soon. But what would you say is the biggest change that you've noticed within yourself throughout your training journey, whether physically, mentally, confidence wise, etc.?
All of those things, all of the above. Training, getting used to the conditioning on the body, especially with all of the pandemic stop and starts. You know, you lose that, and the only place that you can really get ring fit is in the ring. So unless people have a ring in their backyard and they're running the ropes and doing their rolls and stuff, it's very hard to maintain that level of cardiovascular fitness that you need for the ring. So the fact that we were in and out of lockdown for the last 2 years did make it a little bit difficult. So that's the training side of it. And mentally, I just feel like I've learned so much, and now I'm helping with the newbies who are kind of coming through. And I think just recognizing like how much you can learn from starting from zero, as long as you like put the effort and pay attention, then you can kind of, you actually notice things when new people do it and you're like, oh, well, I've been taught to do this way, let me help you so you can, you know, do it the right way or fix it up or whatever. And self-confidence wise, it's always daunting to go out for those first few shows. But I think especially in the last couple of matches I've had, there's been a little bit, and I've said this to my trainers as well, there's been a little bit of a switch that's like flipped, that just I feel a lot more calm and like quietly confident in the ring, because I think that backing that up with all the training makes you confident that you know what to do. You just have to trust yourself. I think a lot of the time maybe you don't end up trusting yourself and you maybe freak out a bit, but as long as you know you've put the work in and now it's just time to go out and do it. So
exactly. And I mean, you have some very qualified and respectable trainers behind you in Madison Eagles, Robbie Eagles, and Mick Moretti, and I'm sure a bunch of others. So what would you say maybe is the best piece of advice you've received from them within training, whether life or wrestling wise?
Best piece of advice. Oh, I'm just trying to like, all I think of is really more on like an individual basis. When I've had matches, they've been kind enough to reach out to me. Like even Robbie, while he's been in Japan, he obviously takes the time to watch our shows when they're on, and for them to kind of reach out and be like, this was really great, this is where you can improve. I think that's been really helpful, just ongoing, because I can't think of like them standing in front of me and being like, saying something really profound, you know. I think it's more of just like an ongoing and keeping the line of communication open. Like always ask at the end of the show as many people as you can, like, what did you like, what didn't you like, what can I improve? And you can get different feedback from every single person that will help you improve every aspect of your wrestling. So yeah, I think just keeping that back and forth line between myself and like my trainers really helps.
Especially too, like we said, you've been surrounded by a bunch of like notable people and amazing professional wrestlers. Very like I'd be like, wow, like being here is like an honor. And of course you're a student of the game too, always wanting to learn and study. Like, so maybe it is one of your trainers, but who are some pro wrestlers that you find yourself like super drawn to when studying or learning, like you like to do?
Yeah, so I'm glad that you didn't ask me who my favorite wrestlers are, because I couldn't answer you that, and people have asked me that before, and I'm like, because I'm still so new to wrestling. People who've watched wrestling since they were kids can straight away be like, this is my favorite wrestler, because that's who they associate with. Whereas I've just had an inundation of information and videos that I've been watching, and
a lot of Japanese, I know that.
A lot of Japanese. So definitely Japan is one of them. I absolutely love Suri from Stardom. I think she's awesome because she's got that MMA background as well. Suri and like her match with Utami Hayashita, those, I need to watch their second
time
match.
Limit draw. Girl.
Yeah, I've watched the first one twice, and I need to watch their second one. I still unsocial Jordan's Stardom login because he loves Japanese women's wrestling. He's like an infinite fountain of knowledge. It's great when I need to get up to date on what's happening. I try to like, sometimes I'll watch their promos on YouTube because it helps me, because I learned Japanese as well.
Yeah.
But it's if you think about how wrestlers talk in like a promo compared to say like a news broadcast, they're really different. So it's quite hard for me to understand. It's like a little bit of like training for me in another sense. So definitely Stardom wrestlers. I quite like the styles of, say, I saw like Robin Renegade on AEW the other day, and she was really, really good. And, you know, I look for the things, and I'm sure this is the same with all wrestlers, but you look for the things that maybe like fans might not notice. So just the really small bits of like the selling, or how they like position themselves, and like those little things I think like raise certain wrestlers. Like you can have the same move set and be really good, but just those little in between bits. So I was really impressed by her, and I think she has a sister, Charlotte, as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so
yeah, they're twins.
Do they tag team?
Yes. So like I work for another promotion, Capital Championship Wrestling, and they're like the tag team champions. They're also Mission Pro tag team champions, if you're familiar with Thunder Rosa's company. So they're tag team champions, like multiple promotions and stuff like that.
So you know them personally?
Not personally, but they're like very well known, I would say, in like the US.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool. I started following her, so now I can see more of her. And yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now.
A lot of good influences though too, and I mean, I know you, like we said, you're a student of the game. You have sheets and sheets of things that you still want to try and to see what fits. So what is one of those things that you have yet to attempt but you really want to try out in pro wrestling?
A move, or
it could be a move, maybe it's a certain promo, or like a different character work bit. I don't know.
Yeah. I do have a finishing move that I've got in my pocket, which I haven't been able to use, and it's really cool, but I keep losing.
Oh my God.
So I can't use it. So that's one thing I'd really like to do if I ever win a match. Yeah, still such a greenie. In terms of like character stuff, I think the character that I'm in now, like I said, is very close to me, but in more of the sense that she's like more anxious or unsure of herself, and she's got this boss and she's trying to please and do everything all at once. And so I think the next stage for Cherry would be really nice to really own that confidence and own that ability that she has, that I have, but it's weird to talk about. And God, it would be fun to just be a meanie. Like, I've got a little mean streak, and if I can bring that out in the future, that's going to be interesting. But not yet. I'm still still learning.
Of course. I mean, like we said at the beginning, you were promoted from intern to referee for so I mean, you're making your way, but you also wrestle too.
It's
so
not the common
no,
path.
it's not. But like we said, it makes you like a triple threat. I mean, maybe, I don't know, is the next step after referee wrestler, or is it like personal host, personal interviewer? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see if I get any more promotions. Then go from there.
Gotta make that dough, or pretend dough, I guess. Come on, give this woman
real dough. Give
her
some
deserves some money, deserves some compensation for all her time and effort. My gosh,
it would be nice.
So what is next for you then? Like, what are some of your personal or professional goals you'd like to, well, besides, I mean, of course, wrestling, more, of course, being an actual wrestler, besides refereeing, personally or professionally, like, what are some of your goals this year?
So in terms of wrestling, I would really love to have a match, whether it's like ends up being a title match would be really cool, or just a match anywhere on an academy show or a Black Label show with Mick Moretti, as he is one of my trainers, I know, but it would just be so great to actually put myself in the ring with him in front of fans and in front of a live stream and see what comes out. I think that would be really cool. He's definitely like, you know, around the top of my list. I'd like to wrestle a few more of my PWA female counterparts, if given the opportunity. So like, I still haven't had, you know, singles matches with like Kingsley or Frankie. Even Jess was my very first match ever as a Green Dingo, and I guess we were in the ring during that one live Goober report when like Charlie and Ricky and stuff came in. But we haven't had a one-on-one, and our styles are very similar. So that would be really fun too. So I'd like to get some of those in the books and have a few more like good singles matches with those girls. Interstate travel's on the cards again. So I have some bookings coming up down in Melbourne. So I get to also, you know, verse some of the other girls from the other states. And I would really love to go to Japan whenever they open up, because they've been closed for ages, but would love to go to Japan just to go back, because I haven't been for a while and I love Japan. But to train would be awesome if there was any kind of opportunity to train there. So yeah, it's looking pretty local at the moment for this year, just while coronavirus still hangs around. But that's really where I'd like to be. Like, I want to be in the Aussie scene because it's just blowing up and it's so good. And why would you want to really be anywhere else with what's happening right now, I feel.
So speaking of travels, a little birdie might have told me you may be coming over to the States here coming up very soon. Wink, wink. So what are you most looking forward to during your time here in the USA?
Well, it's not my first trip to the US, but it will be my first trip to Dallas. And what's happening in Dallas, you say? Oh, Wrestlemania. It's my very first Wrestlemania trip.
Me too.
Oh, yay. So we've got our tickets for night one. I'm going with a bunch of the girls. And I didn't really realize until we started talking about the trip that, you know, so much other wrestling stuff happens in the same area when Wrestlemania is on. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's going to be great. So it's going to be so awesome to see all that stuff. And then, yeah, that's for a week in Dallas and then a week in Florida. So I don't have any specific things in terms of my wrestling in the US. It's really just like a trip. If something happens, that would be cool. If like they're like, oh, we need you on the show, I'll be like, yep, I'm there. But you know, not like Shazza, who's like fully booked out.
Who's still like 3 months here, yeah.
Showing me her schedule, and she was just like scrolling, like, I think you're good, okay. I'll just be on the sideline, like, woo. But yeah, that's basically what I'll be going over for, and it'll be a bunch of the girls representing PWA female wrestling.
I'm so excited. I mean, just of the people I've talked to, and this is public, this is not like shocking information. Like, you got Frankie B, Jess Troy, you have good old Kingsley, and I'm sure a few others, and yourself. I'm so excited to meet you guys. You have no idea. It's been years in the making now. I'm so excited. But you said this wasn't your first trip to the US. So when and where was your first trip here?
Quite a long time ago, I went to North Carolina because my partner was on exchange in what's it called? University of North Carolina, UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Go Tar Heels.
Yeah.
So I was there while he was at uni, and then we did a little trip up to like Washington, DC, and New York. So super quick trip. And then the second one we went to a couple of years ago, we just went to San Fran, and that was amazing but expensive.
San Francisco, I assume.
Yeah, very, very.
I've never heard anybody call it the San Fran.
Oh, I just said San Fran. No, no one says it.
Not that I know of.
Okay,
maybe I mean, I'm East Coast, so maybe it's a West Coast thing that they call it. I don't know.
Maybe it's an Aussie thing because we don't like saying full words, you know.
That's true. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, what were some of your preconceived notions of or expectations here in the US, but you've already been here. So, like, is there anything you think is strange that Americans do?
Everything you guys do.
Really? Okay.
No, it's a bit hard, I think, because it's been a few years since I've been there, but we obviously get like all the news of what's happening over there, which is not the same as
it's wild.
There. Yeah, it always just sounds wild. And I'm originally from South Africa and moved to Australia when I was younger. And I had one person ask me once, which was like, do you have TVs there? And I'm just like, yeah, what? It's like a normal society. And people are like, is it really dangerous? Like, do you have to? And you're like, yeah, of course you have to be careful, but it's like, it's a normal place. And so I think American could kind of get conflated with that sometimes and be like, oh, it's kind of super dangerous and you have to be careful. And it's like high travel threat and all that. But like, I don't think I'm worried about any of that. Just looking to have a good time. And I've heard Dallas is pretty cool. I don't know. Have you been before?
I have a bunch of friends there, like on the wrestling scene, but I've only been to like, I'm trying to think like states wise. I live in New York. I've been to Pennsylvania. I've been to Virginia. I was in St. Louis, Missouri. And I don't count that I was in like DC for like a half hour on a layover. I don't really count that. So I've been to, I guess, in South Carolina. So 5 states, and Texas would be 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's the South, I guess, too, right? It's quite different to, the North, I suppose. But having been to, I guess you've been to South Carolina, I've been to North Carolina, it's kind of the South, so I guess it'll be the same kind of vibe. And all I'm looking for is some American barbecue, because that's my absolute #1 favorite food in the whole world. American barbecue. You guys are so lucky.
You're gonna be sure you're gonna say, guys, we're getting this American barbecue.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
They're going to be meted out.
Oh my God. I love that too. I'm so excited everybody who doesn't know, like, I'm so beyond excited to meet everybody. This is my first Wrestlemania too. It's going to be fun too, to like bounce slang off of each other and have no idea what either one is saying.
Yeah. You're going to have to be prepared to do a shoey with us.
See, I don't even know what that is.
I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to just find out.
I'm going to have to Google it. Shoey?
Shoey. Yeah.
While we're still recording, I'm going to look that up. I'm probably going to spell it very wrong.
It might come up with something dodgy on Urban Dictionary.
Oh, pour the alcohol. Okay.
From the shoe. Mm-hmm. That's the end of the night.
Oh, and chug it.
Well, obviously, you don't have to wear your shoe anymore.
Yeah, I don't really want to do that. Someone wears a wet shoe for the night. What the? Oh, it's a drinking tradition, apparently.
Yeah, and there's even a little song that we sing in Australia when you turn like 18, so you can start drinking at 18 in Australia. And there's this little song. So I'm thinking, actually, when we go out with you and we have a drink, we might sing that song to inaugurate you.
I was told I won't name who, but I was told if we do karaoke or whatever, that they would destroy karaoke. And like,
destroy it in a good way?
I don't know.
That sounds really scary. I love karaoke. I'll destroy it in a good way.
Oh
but
yeah, me too. Like I definitely. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so fun. I'm so excited. Everybody has no idea. Like it's gonna be fucking rad. I'll do maybe do a shoey, but less intense. I don't really want to drink from a shoe. Please no.
No, I understand. That's fair.
No, we won't get into it. I'm gonna be on my feet all day doing a lot of media rounds and stuff too. It's gonna be a whole thing, girl.
Okay, we'll think of an alternative.
Okay, we got some time, but
we got time.
But Cherry, before I let you go, can you please tell the listeners where they can find you on all your social medias?
Oh yes. So Twitter, I haven't said this before. Twitter is at Books Are Tight. Books Are Tight.
Yes.
Instagram is cherrystevens_PW.
Correct. Also correct.
And I think that's all that I have at the moment.
You also got wrestling merch.
I have a TikTok, but it's not under my Cherry name. It's called Charlootle, and I actually post wrestling stuff on there as Cherry. So if you want to have a look at that, and wrestler merch, I have a shirt on there too, which Kingsley so lovingly designed.
Yeah, she was the one who told me about karaoke.
Oh yeah, we're both super. Okay, yeah, I see now.
Yeah, I just want to see it in action personally. Yeah. Me and Frankie B, you're gonna be laughing in the corner, like just watching you guys do karaoke.
We've done it. We went for Kingsley's birthday a few years ago before pandemic, and we sang a lot of duets. A favorite of ours is the High School Musical final song. Yeah, so
love that. I think people's song of choice is going to be very telling too. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm quite I'm a little bit of a karaoke nerd in that I really judge people by their songs. So only in the sense that if you put on Living on a Prayer by John Bon Jovi, whatever
yes,
I will walk out because I'm like, I am not listening to you sing 6 minutes of the same chorus. You have to find the correct karaoke songs for the correct length that's not too repetitive. See, I'm a karaoke freak.
I have like a rotation of like 5 songs I normally go through.
Yeah, it's always good to have your base songs that you go, and then next time if you listen to another one, you're like, I'll try that one. Is that a good karaoke? Not every song is a good karaoke song. I think that is the lesson of the day.
What is your go-to karaoke song? We'll end it on that note.
Heartbreaker by Demi Lovato. Heart Attack. Sorry, Heart Attack.
I'm putting my defenses up.
Just because it's got to be my last song of the night, because how high did she go in the chorus? I think I have a heart attack. Like it's so high.
You're gonna have no voice after that.
You're done. You're done after that.
Now you got me thinking.
What's your karaoke?
Okay, so I have like 4. I went to karaoke like 2 weeks ago. I did Hot and Cold by Katy Perry, but I'm probably gonna switch it up.
Katy Perry has a lot of good karaoke songs. Yeah, good.
She does. Or I'll do like If I Ain't Got You by Alicia Keys. Or So What by Pink, or Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. So you can see a little theme here.
Nice. No, those are all good. All right, I'm ready for karaoke.
Yeah, or maybe I gotta surprise you. I don't know. We'll see. I just did Hot and Cold literally 2 weeks ago, so we got to change it up a bit. We'll see. It depends what mood I'm in. If I'm in an FU mood, then we'll do So What or Since You've Been Gone. If I'm in like a good mood, maybe it'll be If I Ain't Got You. We'll see.
You're right. You do choose your songs based on how you're feeling on the day. So
exactly. This is going to be so much fun. But Cherry, thank you so much for joining me today here on A Wrestling Gal. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I can't wait to frickin' see you in a couple weeks. It's going to be so much fun.
Yay. Don't be too busy so that we can at least go out and do.
We will at least one of the nights. Trust me. I promised that already. So it'll be a lot of fun.